Hey guys, welcome to History Behind the Warrior, and today we're going to be talking about Jin Kazama. Jin is the son of Jin Kazama and Kazuya Mishima. During Jun's pregnancy of Jin, the devil gene from Kazuya would attempt to pass over to Jin. However, Jun was able to fight off the parasite. Now for those who don't know what the devil gene is, it's a genetic mutation that passes down the Mishima bloodline, turning the host into a demonic and very dangerous being. Now Jun was aware of this, and took her unborn child into the mountains, teaching him the Kazama family self-defense fighting style. Jin would grow up to be a very humble, good young man. With his mother's love, he never really needed anyone else. Now during this time, Ogre would be released from his prison in New Mexico. Jun had not only sensed this, but had seen that Ogre had been traveling around the globe killing many of the world's best fighters. Due to how big of a threat Ogre had posed, she would tell Jin his relationship to Kazuya Mishima and his grandfather Heihachi Mishima, saying that if anything bad were to happen to her, then he would go find his grandfather Heihachi. Jun's premonitions proved to be true, as she was attacked by Ogre 4 days later on Jin's 15th birthday. During the battle, Jin would fall unconscious. When Jin awakened, his house was destroyed and his mother had disappeared. Jin swore vengeance against Ogre, and with his mother's wishes, he began training with Heihachi. Jin would train with his grandfather every day for the next 4 years, becoming a master of both their families' fighting styles. At this time, Heihachi believed that Jin was ready, and announced the third King of the Iron Fist tournament. Now Jin conquered all of his competition, with the only scratch on his record being a draw with a martial artist by the name of Horang. Despite this, Jin would continue through the tournament and finally arrive at the temple where Ogre was located. When Jin approached the entrance to the temple, Heihachi would force Jin to fight him in order to lure out Ogre, with Heihachi telling Jin that he wanted to test his abilities and determine whether or not he was strong enough to defeat Ogre, although Heihachi had his own ulterior motives for actually being there. Jin would defeat his grandfather and then confront Ogre and defeat him. At some point during the battle, Ogre would absorb Heihachi's power and become true Ogre, although this wasn't enough power to stop the vengeful Jin Kazama, and Ogre was completely defeated. After True Ogre's defeat, his body would violently explode, and Jin had a sigh of relief as his journey of vengeance had finally come to an end. But out of nowhere, Heihachi's Tekken forces would begin gunning him down. Slowly succumbing to his death, Heihachi would walk over to Jin and put the final bullet in his head. This in turn would activate Jin's devil gene. He would then take out all members of the Tekken force, grab Heihachi by his face and throw him through a brick wall. Jin then sprouts his black wings and flies away, needing to rethink many aspects of his life. Jin would travel to Brisbane, Australia and begin training in a very small dojo. In order to disguise who he was, he would wear a hoodie for most of his training. Ever since Heihachi's betrayal, Jin had hated every bit about himself. He despised the Mishima bloodline, his fighting style, and the devil gene that coursed through his veins. With assistance of the dojo's master, he began learning a much more traditional style of karate. During his training, Jin's thoughts burned with the desire to destroy the entire Mishima bloodline. One day, Jin would hear that the King of the Iron Fist Tournament 4 would be announced, and he would take this opportunity in order to exterminate the entire Mishima clan. During the tournament, Jin was expected to fight his father Kazuya, but on his way to fight his father, Jin would be ambushed by a group of Tekken soldiers who would sedate Jin. Jin would then be taken captive at Honamaru, where Heihachi had planned to extract the devil gene from both Kazuya and Jin. However, this did not go as planned, as the devil gene woke up in Kazuya. Kazuya would attempt to take Jin's devil gene away, but Jin was able to free himself from his restraints and defeat not only his father, but his grandfather. Jin would nearly kill the two, until he was reminded of the teachings his mother had taught him. He then spares the two, saying that they should thank his mother, Jin Kazama, before sprouting his black wings and flying away. As Jin was leaving Honamaru, he was overwhelmed by an evil presence and lost consciousness. When Jin awoke, he found out that he was sitting in the middle of a destroyed forest, and would later learn that he was responsible for doing this. This is because the influence of the devil gene had become stronger. With nothing else left, Jin would set out once more to end his bloodline. During the events of the 5th King of the Iron Fist tournament, Jin would fight his rival Horang. During the middle of the battle, the devil gene would begin to take over Jin. As Jin was attempting to fight the hold the devil gene was having on him, Horang would take this opportunity to strike down and defeat Jin. This in turn would awaken Devil Jin, and he would then defeat Horang afterwards. Jin would then return back to his human form, and battle his great-grandfather Jinpachi Mishima. After defeating his grandfather, Jin would gain control of the Mishima Zaibutsu. Now when Jin has control of the Mishima Zaibutsu, his personality completely changes. He becomes rather ruthless with how he comes across and what he does, as he wages a war against the entire world, rendering most countries' military powers useless. Now the reason Jin has done this is because he wants to engulf the entire world into chaos in order to draw out a powerful being called Azazel. Now Azazel is believed to be the being that originally had the devil gene, and Jin thinks that possibly killing him could eradicate the devil gene itself. Now during the war, his father Kazuya joins the G Corporation, so the two sides clash, with Jin being seen as the bad guy and Kazuya being seen as the good guy, despite their intentions being complete polar opposites. Now during the events of the game, he is defeated by his uncle Lars Alexanderson, who was a rogue Tekken Force lieutenant. Jin then explains himself to Lars, saying that he never wanted to start a war, but he just wanted to eliminate the Mishima bloodline treachery and eradicate Azazel, destroying the devil gene. Lars tells Jin that he's already defeated Azazel, but Jin tells him that only someone with the devil gene has the ability to completely destroy him. Azazel would appear in his golden form and attempt to ambush the two, but Jin would sacrifice his own life in order to kill the gold Azazel. Jin's body is later found by Raven in the middle of the desert, where he still bears the devil tattoo on his arm, indicating that killing Azazel has not freed him from the devil gene. And that's it for Jin, guys. He's definitely one of my favourite characters in the series, as he's kind of a lone wolf warrior, but I do have to admit I'm not a big fan of his change of character during the events of Tekken 6. Now he does resurface during Tekken 7, but I don't know how big of a role he's going to play, as Tekken 7 is going to be based more around the Mishimas. But anyway guys, here's a preview for next week's episode. So we're finally going to be talking about Bison next week, guys, as he's one of my favourite villains of all time, and he was very heavily requested by you guys. So question guys, are you hyped for Street Fighter V next week? And if so, who are you playing? Put it down in the comments below. But as always guys, please comment, like, subscribe and share this video with everyone you know. And I will see you guys next time.